Hello from the Gardena Pass of the Dolomites region in northern Italy. I'm out in the field today doing research to determine what the hiking conditions are like in the off-season. At the time of recording this video, it is the middle of May, and the refugios will be opening in a couple of weeks' time, closer to end of May, all the way up till middle of June, depending upon the elevation of the trails that you're on. So I'm doing some research because personally I love hiking in the off-season. I love the quiet and I love the zen, but there also are some cons to coming in the off-season. However, if you are traveling in this time of year, there are a couple of things that you're going to want to keep in mind. So in this video, I'm going to break down for you what the trail conditions are like, what to look out for when you're choosing hikes, what to prep in terms of gear, and some insider tips that I have learned both through mistakes that I have made, as well as some of the triumphs that I've had on my adventures out in the field so far. But first, my explorer, let me give you a lay of the land of where we are right now. This is about a 40-minute drive from my base camp in the heart of Lyon, but if you are basing in 𝗙𝗢𝗃, you are about a 30-minute drive away from this beautiful region. As you drive up towards the Gardena Pass, it's going to become a V where the Gardena Pass goes one way, the 𝗟𝗔 Pass goes the other, and you are going to be surrounded by 360-degree views of these iconic peaks that make up what we love about mountains and the Dolomites region. Over here, just to give you a little bit more of a lay of the land, what this beautiful mountain is behind me that is hiding in the clouds is the Massif of Sassolungo. In some of my previous videos, you've seen some of my adventures where I'm paragliding off of Sassolungo, doing the Sassolungo group loop, taking the coffin lift on this side of the group loop or of the Sassolungo mountain, which is not open yet. This gives you an idea of what the conditions are like as you are looking around this region. However, when you go further down, if you're going to drive down into the descending valleys, you're actually going to see that the conditions are green and lush and alpine. Odds are you're going to see cows and sheep with bells on, grazing in grass, having the time of their lives. Now, from a hiker's standpoint, here's a couple of things that you're going to need to know. The conditions here are going to vary and vary significantly. First, let's talk about weather. One of the big questions that I get is, how do you determine what the best time to hike is if the weather doesn't look good? You have to look at the forecast hour by hour. Know that in the mountains, typically you're going to get more of your rain and thunderstorms later on in the day when the weather has had a chance to gather and storms have a chance to build. Typically in the mornings, you are going to have a safer bet of hiking in this region. So if you are coming in the off season, or even in peak season, try to time your hikes earlier in the day so you're not going to get caught in afternoon rain and storms, which obviously not only is uncomfortable, but it also is incredibly dangerous. Before I go into more tips, let me actually break down for you where I am specifically. So I was doing a little bit of research on AllTrails, and I decided to go old school and bust out a map of the area. And I noticed that if you come up to the Gardena Pass, you're going to see parking right down below where some of the lower hotels are at the base of these ski lifts. And you can park right there and you're in a wonderland of trails. So I decided to pick more of a mid-mountain trail because the conditions on the mountain that I'm on actually only have small patches of snow. You can choose throughout the Dolomites region. Typically you are going to see levels of trails. So you're going to have lower teal trails that are going to be closer, a little bit further down the mountain. Those conditions are typically going to be solid, more so in the off season if you're looking for options. Then you're going to hit more of this mid-level tier. And then even up higher, you can do more of a circular route closer up to the rock wall. Personally, in the off season, I avoid these trails. You can see on this face that there actually isn't any snow, but the concern I always have is two things. One, if I'm hiking solo, the higher you get, you're going to have more gravel, more scree. It's just not as fun to hike solo, and personally for me, not as safe. Because you're even a couple hundred feet higher, you'd be amazed the difference that can make if you have ice or snowy patches. And because I'm working with some solid trail runners, but not hiking boots or spikes, I'm staying off of the higher terrain for now and focusing on more mid-mountain levels. But what's really cool about this region, I'll do a little quick pan over to the map. You're going to see that the trails cut in and out at multiple levels, and then they're going to connect with various service roads that service the refugios and the ski lifts, and eventually taking you back down. The elevation gain where I'm at right now, I'm going to guess, I don't know, is probably like 600 or 700 feet. We're not doing a huge sufferfest in elevation today, but honestly, that's not the point. When you are coming here in the off season, odds are you are going to want to focus on trails and terrains that have not as much elevation gain. Let's hang out for a second and do a little scenic pan. because that's happening right now. Wow, I hope I'm catching that. If you can't see it, you can hear it. This helicopter is doing some insane maneuvers right now. Wow. Wow, that's amazing. I hope you can see that. It looks like a helicopter is landing right now. Now I feel like I'm doing a news broadcast. So I'm just gonna keep it behind me so you can get a sense of it. So the biggest thing that I find in the off season is you have to watch out for how high you are going into the terrain, but also it can be so varying. If you were to look over here, you really don't want to touch trails on this section right now. There is way too much snow. These are steep drop-offs and cliffs. However, when you are on this side, because it all depends upon the angle of the sun in the off season, certain angles are going to melt the snow faster than others. So when you are looking at the terrain, if you are picking terrains and trails on AllTrails, you may want to ask yourself, where is the sun facing? Drive up to the terrain and get a sense of it. The really good news is that in this region, if you wanted to do a hike over here and you're realizing you're not equipped for winter hiking with crampons or micro spikes, come on over to the other side, because odds are you're going to find a treasure trove of trails. This helicopter is nuts, everybody. I gotta tell you, it's just flying all over. It is amazing. I hope you got to see it a minute ago. So it's a really, really important thing to keep in mind, because you are coming here in a season where the mountains are way more alive. Yes, the Dolomites region is beautiful in the summertime. It's iconic, your perfect blue skies, but there is a dynamic level of adventure that happens here when you are in a region where you can see multiple seasons at the same time. But those are some things that are going to be really important for you to keep in mind. Also, when it comes to weather, the weather here is going to change frequently. When I got here at the start of the trail today, I was in full sun, and I'm just going with my trusty base layer, but it is also neck gaiter season, because when you are in the clouds, the temperature is going to change at least 20 degrees Fahrenheit. It is unbelievable how much colder it is now, especially if there is wind. So you need to make sure you have a solid base layer. I love this thing because when I wear a base layer, I find that I'm often warm and cool at the same time, which is perfect for hiking. But I also have a down shell with me. There's not a chance of precipitation until around 3 or 4 o'clock today. So I'm gonna wrap up around 1:32, but wouldn't you know, I felt a drop of rain on my face right now. I kid you not. Definitely make sure you have a couple of layers. Bring an extra base layer so you can have something different that you can change into. Also make sure that you have polarized sunglasses, because even though a lot of the snow has melted with where I am right now, when you are hiking and you are going along patches of snow, perhaps on a ski run, which I had to do a little bit earlier on, the sun can make the snow so bright that you need polarized glasses. Otherwise, it can be way too intense for your eyes. You definitely need sunscreen, because even though you're in off season, the sun up here is more intense because you're at higher elevation. And bring a beanie. I'm so missing a beanie right now. Just something to keep my head a little bit warmer. Now, the best thing, though, I will say, being here in the off season, what I personally love is the quiet. In the 2 hours I have been on this trail, I have seen one mountain biker and 2 hikers for a few seconds. So while refugios are closed, while you can have an opportunity to enjoy that really iconic part of the culture here, where you can stop at a hut every couple of miles and have some bolognese and cappuccinos and apple strudel, you get the zen. You get the peace and quiet. So if you do come here in the off season, don't be disappointed. If the refugios are closed, you're just gonna have to settle for food. And today's food is a sack of breadsticks. I'm going minimalist today. You could say it's sad, but I'm staying in a place where there's half board, and I've had way too many dumplings and spaghetti over the past couple of weeks, so this girl's been carb loading hard. I can do with a little bit of a lighter day fasting. So to summarize, a couple of things to really keep in mind in the off season. 1, weather's going to change a lot. Bring layers. Plan for at least 2 to 3 seasons of weather in a day. Make sure you have extra base layer to keep yourself warm. Plan for the sun, plan for the cold, plan for the wind, and plan for rain to come out of nowhere, because when I'm looking at these clouds, for all I know, rain could develop in the next hour or so. So I'm probably going to bounce and head down in the next hour at the latest, just because I've gotten a really good sense of the land. 2, be really mindful of the terrain. Please focus on lower elevation trails, only up to mid-mountain if the conditions look good. Do not go higher unless you're prepared and highly experienced and you have the proper equipment. Be prepared for gravel, for scree, steep inclines up and down, but if you are stuck in snowy or icy conditions on those trails, it is no good, no bueno. So try to focus on lower. Also, bear in mind, if you pick a trail and you find that it's really snowy, look to the opposite side of the valley. There may be snow on one side, but if there's not snow on the other, you are in good shape. Bust out AllTrails, zoom in to see where you are, and odds are you're going to find a lot of trails around you. Wouldn't you know, I was actually planning to hike on a trail called Path 8, and I just started meandering and found myself coming higher up the mountain to this path called Path 12A. So you can roam around and enjoy the peace and quiet and the zen, but you also have to be really mindful in keeping your wits about you. That being said, in the off season, the Gardena Pass is open, the Țelhă Pass is open. These are higher mountain roads. So for all of the trails to open, not too far away, but for right now, you have a whole area of terrain in front of you to play and adventure with. So most of all, I'll make sure to put a couple of these locations here, also in the description and the pinned comment at the top, so you can get a sense of where am I, what is this great trail option for you if you're looking for places to explore in the off season in the Dolomites. Also links to some of my favorite gear that you absolutely should bring with you, a couple of tips on weather, webcams, all of those things so you can get a really good sense of the conditions. Also, of course, recommended episodes of this region so you can get a really sense of a lay of the land and maximizing your time here. Last but not least, if you haven't yet, take a second to like this video, subscribe to Explore This, and hit that notification bell so you can get my latest updates on hidden gems, insider tips on beautiful locations of the world, including the Dolomites region. And most of all, great to share the adventures with you. I'll see you out there. Hey, thanks so much for watching today's episode. Take a second and like this video, then subscribe to Explore This so you can get notified on when the next episodes come out where we're going to be seeking adventure, tasting the world, and discovering everything. So excited to have you with me. I'm your host, Ahana, and I will see you next time.